Penny Wisdom here with another expanded tournament. This time I'm going to go ahead and play with the same Yveltal Archeops deck that I played with last week. I didn't get to do a tournament last week since the tournaments weren't up for expanded, but I did play a game, and I did go over the deck list, so go ahead and check that out. I'll link that in the description. I got enough feedback that people wanted to see the deck, so decided we would run it back here. Our opponent's going to go ahead and go first. So for people who haven't seen the other video or don't have time to watch, Yveltal Archeops is basically just Yveltal is an insane attacker, and with Archeops and Maxis, you can go ahead and play the Archeops on the bench, making for nothing. For don't have to find it with fossils, don't have to evolve it or anything. Just play it straight onto the bench, and that kind of makes it so that your opponent can evolve their Pokemon, which can be good versus various things. Raichu, all the megas, Manectric, Rayquaza, anything like Dusknoir. Our opponent on the full Shaman plan here. So it looks like our opponent's probably playing Raichu, Virizion, etc., which we do not match up well against. So we're going to go ahead and dump like this. And actually, was that a mistake? So we had two supporters. Okay, hold on. I think I just clicked the wrong cards, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and get a Darkrai. Play the Darkrai. Sorry, I thought... I must have made a mistake based on what was in my hand, but that's okay. We're just going to go ahead and go like this. I don't particularly want to play another Yveltal if we have to contend against Raichus, but I will attach just in case our opponent doesn't hit it. Gonna go ahead and battle compress. What I generally do with battle compressor is take Archeops, Darkness Energy, and Maxis, but since our Maxis is already in there, I think we might just take 2 Darkness. I'm gonna go ahead. Like I said, don't really want to drop another Yveltal, at least not yet, so I'm just gonna play like this. Shaman Power. No reason to play anything else. Let's go ahead and pass the turn. I've played with this deck a little bit more in my TCG testing, and I actually have found it kind of clunky. I know it's won a bunch of tournaments. It's obviously, it's obviously not a very clunky deck. People really like it. I don't know if my list is a little bit off, or if I'm just not used to playing with it, but something about it to me has just seemed a little bit off. I've been having some weird hands and kind of putting myself in rough spots, but maybe that's just me. Maybe I just need some more practice with it. I just think that, I don't know, maybe just something's a little off with it. I don't know if you guys ever feel that way about a deck, but sometimes it's not a database thing. It's more just kind of a feeling. Like I feel like something's wrong. Maybe an energy count is wrong, or something where I'm just not doing what I'm supposed to be doing it most of the time. Let's see, our opponent is playing Rayquaza. So unfortunately they already got the Raichu up. But we need to find a way to get the Yveltal now. I assume our opponent's going to go ahead and sacrifice the Swablu. Nothing. They can actually. I guess they might be thinking that we're running Manectric too. They might fear that. And promote the Rayquaza. I think it's safe to attach like this. And then I don't really have an interest in decking myself out more with Battle Compressor. So I think I'll just take an N. Put our opponent down a few cards. Dark Patch to Darkrai. And attack the Y-Cyclone. Moving the Darkness so that I have the option to either... I guess if I move the DC, I actually have the option to Night Spear next turn as well. But leaving the DC makes it so that my potential Evil Ball is bigger next turn, and I can Y-Cyclone next turn with an attachment. So this kind of just gives you both the best worlds, saying, you know, it's likely that you can knock me out, and if so, my DC will go down, but it wasn't doing much use anywhere else either, and if it doesn't go down, there's a potential that I have a little bit of extra value. So Winona's a pretty interesting card here. Not one that you see too often, but it is helping our opponent hugely here. They're going to get 2 Rayquazas and Mega Evolve one of them. So to take a look at this guy, I just actually did a card of the day on Winona. A card that people really hyped when it first came out, thinking, oh, you can grab 3 colors Pokemon, it's going to be so good. And, you know, it hasn't really held its weight in that position yet, but maybe our opponent's onto something. Opponent sending various smiley faces. I'll ship one back. And at this point, gonna make our opponent get rid of their Shaman, I imagine. Maybe their Swablu. So at this point, when I'm playing the Furbank, bouncing the Skyfield, they have a choice. Typically, in the Lysander's Trump card format, the choice was get rid of your Shaman to buy it back. Now you have to think about it a little bit more. They do decide to get rid of the Shaman. I'm going to go ahead and Colress. Now that I know that they're mainly a Rayquaza deck, it seems like I'm fine dropping this. And I will attack Y-Cyclone. And then move this DCE to an Yveltal. There is a potential of moving the Dark to the Darkrai and saying, hey, I have this attack with no energy to have next turn, but because I am pretty sure this Yveltal is going down next turn, I just want to kind of play it safe and save my DCE, and if it doesn't get knocked out somehow, having the Darkness on there still allows me to attack, just not quite as well. So our opponent just attaches a DCE to their Rayquaza, but takes it back. We're going to go ahead and Mega Turbo and then attach from hand. Nice sequencing, saving the DCE there, if so. Saving the DC for the Raichu is huge too. Although our opponent will have to, so our opponent is just letting us have this Swablu, it looks like. That's fine with me. Taking a little bit of time to think things through here. Giving me the Swablu here does put me at odd prizes. However, they do have the Raichu on board, which is going to be a target eventually, so that doesn't mean as much as it could. And I think the plan is to take this Lysander, and then I can't deal with the Rayquaza right now. So I think I just want to Lysander the Raichu and knock it out. Or do I just take the Shaman? I guess I actually wouldn't knock out the Shaman. So never mind. That was... But I could knock out the Shaman with this. So maybe that's what I want to do. Shaman. retreat here, and then hit, I guess, Swablu for the free knockout, and put my opponent in a spot where I have to just take one EX knockout to win, or I can do something like Lysander the Raichu with this Darkrai, knock it out, and hit the Swablu. This Darkrai is probably going to knock out this turn. Our opponent does need to find a Sky Field. Time to play, our opponent says. Frank the Tank 89. Very, very chatty guy. I like it. I mean, don't get me wrong, the chat aspect of PTCGO isn't always the best, as is the chat aspect of basically any other online game, but it can be fun sometimes. Our opponent's in the tank. They've actually used quite a bit of time. We're at almost 8 minutes, and they're at 6.5. So I guess not that much time. And I actually think I play pretty slowly on PTCGO. Not not the fastest player. I've played it a lot, so you'd think my reflexes would get better, but because I consider myself a medium to faster player on in real life, but online I don't know, maybe I think through my things more, just take a little bit more time in general. Alright, so here we go. Shaman, does he find it? Does not looking like it. Usually you would just kind of slam it and figure it out, but it may be that our opponent's thinking about an Ultra Ball. Is that a sad face? I think that's a sad face. Oh, there's a computer search. Okay. So our opponent still might not have it, because they do need another. They need to find a Sky Field and another Pokemon. So it's likely they do, but we definitely don't mind if they miss. Gotta imagine that's the Sky Field coming down. Ooh, so our opponent's saying their last stadium is prize, so that's pretty rough. If they can't find the Sky Field here, they're going to be in some trouble. We don't actually have one on board. We do need to find a Versus Leaguer for Lysander for that to happen, but they'll only be doing 150 here if they leave the Rayquaza active, which is definitely not what they want to be doing. We can't find a way to win this turn, so I think we're going to go ahead, stick this DCE here. Ultra Ball like this to find a Spiritomb, I guess, thinning our deck out a bit. And Juniper. Laser's pretty nice there. Let's try him again, see if we can get a heads. Alright. Oh, wait, it doesn't matter. Oh, wow, wow, that was terrible. Okay. Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, I guess it doesn't actually matter. I forgot Virizion was in play. So I guess we actually do want to get rid of these lasers, make sure they don't get end back in anytime soon. I mean, I think so this is an interesting question. We can either let our opponent take prizes here, but be so close to winning, or we can and give them a chance to draw a Sky Field, or we can make a play that prevents them from getting prizes. Although I guess that's not too relevant anyways. So let's just go ahead, take the Swablu, and then we do have the Versus Seeker for a game. So if our opponent can't respond with an N, it will be over for them. However, if they do N, take prizes here and when there's a Sky Field, they will be back into it. Also, slight mistake last turn. I should have Battle Compressed, knowing that I didn't want to get End. I should have just put a bunch of irrelevant stuff in the discard pile. So if I do get End, then I'm down 4 potential cards out of only 12, 13, 14, 15, so 17. So that's pretty big, actually. our opponent's stadium being prized there was huge. Something I've noticed among PTCGO players primarily is that they don't check their prizes enough. I think most competitive players in live events will tell you that if they don't memorize their prizes on the first turn or two, they at least have a pretty good idea of what they'll be. Um, and I just don't feel that that's the same way on PTCGO, myself included. Interesting play here. Don't know. I guess the idea is that our opponent doesn't want us to find a way to, I don't know, Yveltal, attach a DCE, do something like energy switch, and knock it out. But that's fine with us because we will take the knockout here for game. Versus Seeker finds Lysander. Lysander finds Raichu. Night Spear for the knockout. So, 1 round 1, pretty interesting game. Our opponent stumbled a bit while we got pretty far ahead. Ooh, tournament ticket? No, tournament tokens. Let's hope for some tournament tickets. But so yeah, we got pretty far ahead early. Our opponent stumbled there. Then missing that prize or missing that stadium was huge. If that stadium hadn't been prized, they very well could have won this game. But they had a few turns where they missed some big stuff, so definitely probably not indicative of the matchup. I think a Rayquaza deck that gets going pretty fast has Raichu's in is probably beating our deck most of the time, but that's the beautiful things about card games, that there's some variance involved, and I do think we made several mistakes actually, so we were very lucky to win, but I'll see you in the next round.